In between the original Jurassic Park and its first official sequel, The Lost World, Steven Spielberg had tasked an ambitious gaming team to come up with what was supposed to be a hard canon entry in the franchise. This digital successor to The Lost World would later be known as Trespasser, a game that featured the voices of Richard Attenborough and Minnie Driver, however, one that also merged much of the Michael Crichton book lore into its own universe, which unfortunately caused major continuity errors left, right, and center, rendering the game non-canon, even if it's just taken as a story set after The Lost World. Despite these issues with continuity, newer Jurassic World material has gone back and salvaged much of Trespasser for usage in the new film trilogy. And amongst the things that they've taken from the game, there's one dinosaur type in particular that fans keep going back to. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk to you about Steven Spielberg's famed Superraptor once again. This creature is only known directly from a specific interview with the director that can be found in a book from 2000. And to cut to the chase, it was originally envisioned as a monstrous alien-esque creature that the filmmaker feared would be a bit too horror movie for The Lost World. Now, many people assume the dinosaur in question here may have borne some semblance to the final boss of Jurassic Park Trespasser. And interestingly, once Seamus Blackley, the executive producer of the game, was asked this question on Twitter, he confirmed that, yeah, it more than likely was. So what is this Superraptor from the video game? Well, in Trespasser, the Alpha Raptor, as it's commonly referred to, is simply a very big and very mean red-colored Velociraptor that lives atop Isla Sorna's highest peak, Mount Watson. She controlled a pack of Tribe C raptors that lived on the harsher parts of the island, and until now, I haven't really seen anyone talk about her story in the game, which, believe it or not, was actually scripted for Richard Attenborough to speak out loud. However, it got cut from the final release, more than likely due to Trespasser's extremely rushed schedule. Now, this little story about the Alpha/Super Raptor is told from Hammond's point of view, and it's kind of difficult to really understand what was going on, but I think most fans will be able to make something out of it once they hear it read out loud. So, with that being said, this is what was originally scripted to appear in the game. We released the first Raptor on April 22nd, 1985. It wandered back and forth near the wall for 4 minutes and 22 seconds before hearing a noise which drew it further off into the brush. A third tribe of raptors took the mountain for their territory. A leaner, tougher breed, quick, living on birds and tiny lizards. By 1987, the first of them had reached full size. The ecosystem of another era began to reassert itself. 1988. The raptor watched me through the reinforced glass of the holding room. This was the alpha female. It seemed to know me, its partner in a nameless, endless conflict. The raptor padded in towards sundown. It drank nervously, careful of the dangers of the Jurassic waterhole. Several hours later, we discovered that it had come in through the sewage pipes. When the alarm sounded, workers threw down their tools and fled. Muldoon went into the field to investigate. For 4 months, we monitored it while it preyed on the herds of the southern forest. We never knew why it grew so large. In the summer of 1988, it began moving north. We retreated, landing by landing. Robert stood at the third level, coolly aiming and firing. The workmen sweated and complained in the sun. Armed guards stood around, pacing warily. And we drove the road south. After that, the script kind of just continues, talking about how the workers on Site B fortified their defenses and began creating better facilities on the island, but everything right here that I've gone over seems to be specifically targeting a larger alpha female Velociraptor that somehow managed to infiltrate the humans' base of operations and cause a lot of trouble for John Hammond and Robert Muldoon. Now, of course, none of this stuff is canon, or even canon within the final release of Trespasser because it didn't make it into the final cut, but it's still something that I find to be very interesting because it's really all we have on a story level to go off of when it comes to how the Alpha or Super Raptor would have been treated in a Jurassic project. Now, the finalized version of this animal for The Lost World was probably something a little different, but you get the idea. This is a genetic freak of a dinosaur that we never really got to see outside of what we assume was salvaged from it for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom's Indoraptor. But as as for The Lost World and Trespasser, I just think this is some fun Hammond material that details a strange what-if scenario when it comes to the monster. Anyways guys, now that I've gone over all of that, I'd love to hear all of your thoughts. What do you think about this unused script for John Hammond? Is this untold story of the Super Raptor something that you found to be interesting? And what would you have thought if this genetic abomination was added into the final game or even final movie? Me personally, I love it, but hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video, and hope you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.